Hey everybody, welcome to a random episode of A Talking Dead Guy, where I happen to have a very special guest with me today. It's Hannah Fierman. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
She's I'm a fan of hers, goes way back. She's an actress that, as far as what I know, for a lot of indie horror films, such as VHS, St. Agatha, Siren, the list goes on, The Trip, and some some TV spots. In, if I remember correctly, The Taste of London. If I remember correctly, me and Freddie were just talking about that.
Toast of
Um,
London with Matt Berry.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Vampire Diaries, if I remember correctly, and Dynasty. I think he had a spot on Dynasty. And my personal favorite was a very small part in the Nova series with Brian Greene. I don't know if you remember that, the flight attendant spot in the science show. So that's one of my personal favorites. Just so before we get into all that, I know that you've recently been delving into directing and possibly writing, if I'm correct on that. Before we get into that, I know that Bianca had a question about the film, the Dark Circles film. So if you'd like to, Bianca.
Did you lose Bianca?
We might have lost Bianca.
No, I just had myself muted on accident. I'm blaming Freddy for this.
I'm a curse. I bring curses with me wherever I go.
No! So, everybody's been telling me about the Dark Circles film. Can I ask, what's the Dark Circles film? What is it? What is it?
It's a film called Dark Circles. And it's a feature, and it is a psychological horror thriller.
Ooh. I love psychological horror. I say that non-sarcastically because I sound sarcastic sometimes naturally. I genuinely enjoy psychological stuff.
I do that too. I'm just like, no, I genuinely meant that. I know it sounded sarcastic, but it's straight up. It happens to me all the time.
I was doing a little bit of research on it, which I do remember. I remember this coming out in waves, like a lot of posts about it back in the day. And then as I clicked on it, it took me to the Indiegogo site, and it looks like that was cleared up. It looks like it closed. So you guys did a complete indie fan budgeted film with this, the way it's looking to me.
Not entirely, no. It was we also had private investors, but they did do an Indiegogo, and I participated. It was the first one I actively participated in, and it was very unsuccessful, which we didn't figure out why until the very end of the campaign. And it was because it was being flagged because its original title as a sex crime, because the original title was The Events Surrounding a Peeping Tom. And so it was being flagged and nobody was seeing it. And I got so frustrated, and I just wrote a little blip on Facebook. I was like, guys, come on, at least share it. I've done so many things for your Indiegogos. Why are my friends not even sharing it? Like, I was your AD, man. Like, share it. And they're like, oh, sorry, Anna, we have no idea what you're talking about. We haven't seen it. And then we realized that nobody was seeing it, and that was the problem. So we renamed it Dark Circles, finished the campaign, didn't make very much money, but luckily we had a whole bunch of private investors that cruised in. And then we shot the whole thing for $75,000-ish, and then we got a little more for post, very little more, like I think like $3,500 for post later on. But yeah, we got the locations for almost entirely free through our producer, Dan Kearney, because he knows everybody in Connecticut, and he's like cousins with everybody in Connecticut. And so, yeah, we got like a school for free where we shot a great deal of the film because it functioned as not just a school, but also as an office, and what else did we use it for? A dream sequence, all sorts of things. It was a really excellent location. We got his grandmother's house for free. She had passed away a little bit prior, and they were just about to hand it over to the new homeowners, but they had a couple of weeks, so we were able to shoot there for free. Gosh, where else?
It's such lucky timing. That feels meant to be.
Silver lining.
Yeah, it was an excellent house. It was very it was lived in. All the furniture was out of it, but it had so much character on its own. It was really old. It had this really classy wood paneling, like proper wood. It felt like you were inside a ship, and there was even engravings of ships on it. So I think maybe they might have used the interior of an old ship to build part of the interior of this house. Like, it was decorated. The stairwell was decorated with rope and stuff like that. It was really cool.
I love that you care about that as a director, because we always call it house porn in our house. And I think a lot of people do. When you're watching a movie and you're like, man, the locations, anything else is icing on the cake. Once you get that location that's so beautiful, you're just like, I just want to spend time in this place.
Yeah. Sometimes I watch shows just for the set design and the costuming. There's this show, The Great. Well, The Great is also really excellent writing and excellent acting, and just all around really good. But I watch it for the set design and for the costuming. It's just exquisite.
Love it, like Downton Abbey.
Yeah, totally. Except I don't really like the story of that one.
I've never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
So I did want to ask you something. This is through paying attention to your career through probably, God, I don't even want to put a number on it. Let's just say a decade. I'm curious about the challenges that you might have faced, are facing, when going from in front of the camera to behind the cameras and behind the screens. What differences have you noticed, and has it impacted, say, when you are acting? Has it impacted when you go back in front of the camera and you're acting from directing?
I think that, yes, it certainly has influenced me. I'm definitely more of an actor's director. I've learned a lot, though. Directing. I've directed a segment in an anthology, and then Dark Circles, which is a feature, regular narrative format, and a music video. And just technically alone, I am not the same human I was 7 years ago. It kind of goes both ways as far as from an actor's perspective. Like, in one way, I hold directors to a higher standard than I used to, and in other ways, I'm more forgiving. So, for example, and I say this a lot, I use this too much, but I remember when I would be acting in something and my director would be like, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that." And instead of being flattered, I was annoyed, because I was just like, "Well, why did you cast me then? Did you watch my audition? And then I found myself doing it. I was just like, "Oh, I didn't know they could do that," And but I think that it could be phrased a better way, just like, "Wow, I'm so glad you brought that. I wasn't anticipating that," or something like that, instead of, "I didn't know you could do that." But so that's just one example of how I've grown in that particular dynamic exchange.
That's just something I've always thought about, and following some of your social media, you get a lot of your, behind the scenes stuff. I feel some of us are kind of lucky where we get random pictures where you're dyeing your hair or dyeing your eyebrows or something. And then we get another where you're keeping us updated on what's going on. And I was curious, that was something I thought, well, she's got a lot of credit on acting. So I'm wondering what the challenges are when going from that particular aspect to behind the scenes. And yeah, I guess it would change your entire perspective at that point. The way you see, even if you go back to acting, it's going to change your perspective on the director and basically the relationship from that point on.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, you go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you had a mentor, to kind of anybody who was kind of a guiding force that encouraged you to move into directing.
Well, my ex-husband Josh Wilcox told me that I really needed to move in that direction. He just understood how much I enjoyed storytelling and putting together everything and creating something as a whole, the entire story. And he just thought I would be good at it. And but pretty much everybody in my life had said that, and I knew I was always moving in that direction, because I have such a vivid image in my head of what I want, and I've worked in the industry long enough to know how I can get that and how I can create it.
I love that you're also working with a lot of people who there's like, I almost consider, knowing Damien Maffei, who's the lead in Dark Circles. I too have been following this for a long time. I contributed to that campaign that disappeared too.
Thank you.
And that's interesting what you said about the title, because it's a shame, because I do like that original title a whole lot.
I like it way better, and I'm hoping that whoever picks it up in distribution will change it back.
Yeah, because you figure it's probably going to be a whole different can of worms as opposed to trying to raise money. Once it's out there and you see that beautiful, almost like a giallo title.
Yes,
exactly.
So yeah, love it.
But yeah, I love this crew. But like Brian Fitzpatrick, who the writer, and Damien. You guys have been friends prior to this, right?
Yeah, we met I guess technically we met in 2004, but we didn't meet in person until 2007, because we were cast in a feature together that never got made, and we stayed in contact. And I would go see, if he had a play or something, I'd go see it and support it when we both lived in New York City, and just stayed in touch. And yeah, this has been a really long time in the making. I was originally the character Rowan was originally written with me in mind, and then they asked me to direct it, and so it went to Kate Kiddo, because I didn't want to direct my first feature narrative and act in such a large role at the same time. I felt like that was I probably would have screwed that up pretty bad. So but she killed it. She absolutely killed it. She was perfect for it. And I've known him ages. I've never met Brian. I don't think I've even spoken to him on the phone. We DM'd a couple of times, but that was it. I really do look forward to meeting him, because he's an excellent writer.
Yeah, he's a sweet man. He's a good guy. Real solid.
Yeah.
I love seeing good people succeed. It makes me very happy.
That's kind of like, that's what I was getting at with like the Instagram account. Me and Freddie were talking backstage a little bit, and I was like, man, I followed her a long time ago on Instagram and had no idea really who she was. I was just kind of growing my own account, had some correspondence or whatever, and next thing you know, somebody's sharing some fan art from one of my favorite horror films ever made, and then it just made the connection. Like, wait, I remember in your comments, wait a minute, that's you? Oh my God. Like, I had no idea that I'd been following the person who was in one of my favorite horror films ever made. So I was just like, oh, this is really cool. So it's cool to be able to follow somebody through their career. And that's what I was getting at before, that it seems like you work with a group of good people. And with Freddie, the way he was saying, you guys know, it seemed to have a lot of connections with a lot of the same people. And he said they all seemed like very good people and very kind people that at least appreciate the art and appreciate the craft of it. You need the money to get by, but it's not about making the money. It's just enough to get the film made. We're not worried about a profit. We're not worried about that sort of thing.
And they speak highly of each other. You guys, like, on the other side, I've heard so much about you from them also that it's just wild. So much respect all around. No drama. I love it.
Well, yeah, they're excellent people, and I tend to work with the same people over and over again. If I collect the people that are really good at what they do, and who are lovely to work with as well. But that doesn't always happen. But when it does, it's important to stay in contact.
Always keep the good people close to you.
Yeah.
It's creating a network, and you create a network of enough like-minded individuals, and before you know it, everybody starts working on the same projects, or at least they know somebody. Here I'm not available, but this person is, and I come highly recommended. It's creating a network, and to me, that's how places like Studio A24 get started. You know, they're huge now, but back in the day, they're just creating networks, you know, connections of people they worked with before, you know, like various directors and artists, sort of keeping it tight and keeping it small so they have control over the film and the entire
Absolutely.
project.
Yeah, you need to be able to trust the people you work with, you know, because like you can't do everything on your own. I mean, not a movie anyway, unless you're the only person in it. Yeah, you gotta stay in touch. Did you really?
You tried, and
it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Did you come out on stage and do voices of people from your neighborhood or anything? Like John Leguizamo's one-man show?
No. It was bad.
Did you have puppets?
No one saw it. No one saw it. I was the puppet. No one saw it. It was terrible. I learned the hard way. Like, you can't set up a camera and then get in front of it and just make magic happen. It doesn't work like that. That's not how it works. You guys seem to have figured out.
Teams do it though.
I've got a link pinned in the chat for everybody that's just popping in. I've got Hannah Fierman with me, and we are discussing Dark Circles. And I guess we're going to move on to, I need to pronounce this correctly so this doesn't get demonetized. Demonatrix. If you want to talk about that a little bit, because I mean, instantly that was like, okay. I remember seeing some posts about that. So
yeah. So that's a movie I just did back in April in Seattle with Jeff Farrell and Aurelio Voltaire, and they both wrote and co-directed it, and it's going to be very well received. It is bonkers, and I had so much fun filming it, and that's one of the ones that's just like the wardrobe alone. It's just like, yeah,
it has to be that title.
Oh yeah, and they brought it. The wardrobe, the key wardrobe person was Megan Bishop, and she has her own harness and I guess wardrobe and goth accessories line.
And a lot of black is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, well, she doesn't just do black though. She's got like, she's amazing. Just like her studio was just like, I was just like, wow, look at all this stuff. And
I could dig and find some pictures as an example.
Had a Little Mermaid moment. Look at
this. For me, it would take up the rest of the interview just trying to find one. I found it, and it's like the stream's over. Like, I remember those posts and just immediately started laughing. Like, this is going to be a riot. Like, I already know where this is coming from. Like, so I'm pretty excited. And yes, it does look, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to have a dark comedy feel to it, but I don't want to like throw anything out there or make any guesses either. But
well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely some funny elements in it, but I'm not gonna label it because they might disagree with me. But I thought it was really funny. On the day, it was really funny.
Comedy? No, it's a psychological thriller. Are you crazy?
Eye of the beholder.
Yeah. No, it's not though. Huh?
I'd say out of context, the scene I'm filming doesn't make any sense, but okay. You know, I'd just be going with it. We're good. Doesn't have to.
I agree.
Uh-oh, looks like we have a fan who recognized you. Yes.
I can't read it. It's too small.
Our friend Hans came in and said, "Oh shit, Hannah, the actress from the found footage VHS movie." Yes, that'd be the one amongst others. Yes. I had another buddy in the Discord goes, "Oh shit, that movie." I was like,
"That movie?"
That in person,
I got lucky. Yep.
Do they go, "Oh shit"? Do they do that to you in person as well?
Yeah.
I love it.
You should see their faces are just like, where do I know you from? I'm like, I act
everywhere
in horror movies mostly, and they're like, it's like horror and then joy and then just like not knowing what to do with their face and their hands, and it's just like it's
iconic. It really is.
Thanks, the face of beautiful nightmares. Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
really, really great.
No, I mean,
Scary
I
still.
was gonna try to do my best to go the whole stream without talking about it.
Without talking
I was
about
proud of
VHS?
myself. Yeah, I wasn't even gonna say anything. I was like, you know what?
But it's an
need to talk
icon. It's
about that.
iconic, Hannah. You got to know that by now. It's an iconic thing. People have to know. They have to
Yeah.
bring it up.
They have
Well,
The person who doesn't know anything horror related. So I'm like, I don't know what we're talking about, but
You know
it's
what?
so fun.
Keep it that way. You don't want to know.
No.
No, trust me, you do not. If
This
you're not a
one's really
horror
scary,
fan,
too.
yeah, don't
Yeah.
watch it. If
I'm
you're
not a horror fan, but I'm a
do
werewolf fan. Isn't that weird?
Oh,
Actually-
I like werewolls.
I'd say
I
it's
love werewolves.
fairly sure there's a wolf movie in that resume, if I remember correctly. So I have to look into that.
There's a giant rat.
Is that what?
Oh, you mean the VHS franchise? I don't think there's a werewolf yet.
No.
Was there one called Howling or something like that?
Not in the-
VHS? I don't think so.
Not in the franchise, no.
That's its
in
own.
the for the werewolf film.
Oh, yeah.
For
yeah.
a
The
werewolf
Howling.
film.
Yes. That's an oldie, but a goodie.
I think
No,
So,
there's another one. I could have sworn there was a werewolf film that you were in when I checked your IMDb. There was a werewolf film I saw, and I don't remember. I could have sworn the word howling was on there, but not the howling.
it
From
was.
there.
It's called. I think you're talking about Wolf Hollow.
Dang it, that's what it was. It was the H. The H.
Ah.
That's
That's
easily done.
Howling
Yeah.
and hollow.
I did a little
Close.
cameo in that one.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was done with a whole bunch of my buddies, and it was really enjoyable. If you get a chance to watch it, there's this actor in it that the bigger dude. When you watch it, you're gonna love it. He just steals the entire show. He is so funny. Like, I will watch anything that guy's in, and I can't remember his name. It's Alan or something. Anyway, yeah, check it out. It's a
Looks
fun.
like-
It's a
Freddy's digging
I'm
for
looking.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that your camera moved just scared me, and you're
Oh,
not
I
even
had that,
touching
yeah.
it.
He's
Bizarre.
nerdy like me, but I can't go digging because I've got all this Hannah stuff pulled up on my tabs and I'll get lost. Like, all of it will be lost if I close anything out going and digging, but
let's just
he's nerdy
speculate.
like me.
Yeah.
I can't watch a movie without the first 5 minutes pulling up on IMDb. Like, oh, okay, yeah, this will probably be all right.
Yep. 75 cast members in Wolf Hollow.
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge.
So yeah, we're werewolf
Yeah.
connoisseurs around these parts. So we kind of frequent werewolf movies. So we're gonna have to check that out just to find the cameo because
Yeah, werewolf watch parties. Yes, we continue on the journey.
we'll find the cameo and be like, hey, she was on the channel.
Hey.
I did want to ask because we did kind of hit it and then missed. What kind of release dates are we looking for Demonatrix? Do you have times? Are they even at that stage yet?
No, I don't have times, and they're not at that stage. But I would imagine these guys move really quickly. Jeff Farrell is editing it, and the guy is just spectacular at editing. He's just like a wizard. He's about to drop the trailer next month. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but oh well, I did. And so I would imagine probably late next year. And I think they already have distribution lined up and everything, but I'm not gonna say for sure.
Okay.
I'm not a producer on it. I'm just the lead in it. And oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I'm just ecstatic. I'm hoping that I'll get to have like at least some sort of premiere to go to, or a convention out in Seattle, so I can see all those guys again, because like I just made so many friends and fell in love with the cast and crew. And I mean, most of the cast isn't from there, but a lot of the crew is, and they're just like the makeup artist and the wardrobe person, designer, everything. They keep asking me to come out and just hang out and stay at their houses, and the makeup artist lives on this beautiful island, and she's like, you can have your own little house, just come on. I'm just like, holy shit, this
Good
sounds
deal.
amazing. I know. And so I gotta get back out there and hang out with those guys. They were just,
Yeah, why are you here talking to us?
I know, I should be.
Go to
I
the
should be
island now. Go
chilling
now.
in Seattle. Yeah, just wonderful humans, and
So,
just
what,
so
Larry
pretty out there.
Fessenden too, right? Huh? And
Yeah, Larry.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Doug Bradley.
Yeah, Doug. And
I saw that.
the ogre from Skinny Puppy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Everybody was so great. Like, everybody was super duper nice and having so much fun. They just really took great care in everything that they did with that movie. Everything was just excellent.
Can't wait to
Well,
see it.
Yeah, it's on my list for sure. But I guess I wasn't familiar with the Dark Circles because I remember the name change. I remember that happening. And then when I found the Indiegogo, I wasn't familiar with that stuff. I had no idea how to do that stuff back then. Like, now I know how to work Kickstarter. Now I know how to work all this stuff. But then
Because
I click
I
on that
helped
and I'm like, nope,
give
I
you
know
the
how to do it.
credit.
So I actually don't know the status on that. Has that actually officially been released?
But
The Dark Circles?
no, it's done. I'm just waiting on a couple of tweaks before. Okay, so the VFX is done except for like one tiny little thing, but we're waiting to send it to the colorist, and then the colorist is going to physically mail it to my editor. So we're waiting on just sort of an assembly. So it is done, but it's just
Okay.
like, they've got a couple of tweaks to finish up before we can make some screeners, and we're putting together, a little, I guess you would call it a press kit, but it's not for the press, it's for distribution. And then as soon as we sell it, I'm gonna be blasting it everywhere and telling everybody where they can see it. And so it's been a long time in the making. It took a year before I even got to start editing it, because my producers wanted to use Dan Ballister as the editor, and I'm glad they did because he's wonderful. But he was working on Time's Up, which is another movie they did together. I was just an actor in it, but so I had to wait for him to finish messing with that movie before I could use him. So it took an entire year, and I was just shitting kittens to see the footage. I was just like, it's probably good that they made me wait a year, because like maybe I chilled out a little bit, but it was torture.
I couldn't even imagine.
Oh yeah, it sucked. Yeah. But it was also kind of like a joyous delight when I finally did get to see everything. And I was like, oh, it really did work out. I've been thinking about that for a year. So then, and the editing process, it was actually pretty quick, but, and then doing the score with Alexander Taylor, that was probably my favorite part of the entire process, was doing the score with him.
Really?
Yeah, it was magical. It was so much fun.
That's
everything up.
That is something I've always wanted to do. So
pure
that's
joy.
really
Yeah.
interesting. That I've always wondered from that perspective. Like, I wonder what it's like working with directors, and you spent weeks writing music, and you bring it to them, and they're like, "It all sucks. I don't like any of this." You're like,
yeah. Well,
no!
there was not. I didn't say that. But I mean, there was definitely a few tweaks here and there, but pretty quickly we established a language that both of us understood. And because it's hard to speak in music, and I didn't know how to speak in music, but so I would just be as descriptive as possible without. Well, I mean, I'm sure I sounded very silly, but he understood me, and it was just like, oh, that's amazing.
I've
can't
been on
believe
the other side of that, Hannah. I know
Oh,
what
yeah.
you're talking about. Yeah, where then I've had people tell me, as I'm compose music, and I was write something for a podcast, and they'd be like, we want it less cozy. It'd be a description, and trying to get that back and forth. That I love that. A good relationship with a composer and a director, right? That's like a make or break thing for me with movies.
Man, I was so intimidated. Yeah.
And being a musician, it's kind of your responsibility to speak on a level or understand that most people can't describe to you and put into words what they're hearing in their head. You got to kind of work with them where they're like,
well,
can you make that sound like it's on fire?
The scene.
Yeah, I
like
think I understand what you mean.
Yeah. Did you spend a lot of time in person working with them, or was it all remote? Because I know mostly it's remote now.
It was remote. It was back and forth. I spoke to him on the phone, but yeah, he was in LA and I was in Georgia. And yeah, I remember one time there's a scene where Damien, he's my lead actor, Damien Maffei, and he was peeling off this Band-Aid that was this festering magical, well, not magical, but well, anyway, I don't know. You just got to see the movie. And I mean, I do know, but you got to see the movie. Anyway, this festering wound that was put there by nefarious means. Anyway, so I was just like, when he peels off the Band-Aid, he had some pulsating sound in there. And I was just like, I want it to come to more of a climax. And when he peels it off, I want to be able to hear the stink of that rotting flesh. Like, I just want the stank just to hit you in the face. Can you do that musically? It was just like,
Yes.
That's the sort of feedback a composer would want. That sounds fun. That sounds exciting.
Can you make us?
Can they be able to give me the sound of bread?
Is it like fresh bread or
It's gotta be fresh bread. It's gotta be fresh bread. It's because I was reading like a webtoon one time. It was called The Sound of Bread. There's this character and she hears the music the bread makes. And I was like, I have no idea what that means. That sounds cool.
I think Freddy does.
I think I do.
Make it more
You
cozy.
make bread?
Yeah, I think the bread is just a bunch of pads, like from an '80s Van Halen song. You know? It's airy, but it's got a little bit of an edge to it. If it's
very nice reference. 80s Van Halen. Bread. I can see the connection.
It sounds like the band Bread. To be blatant, you know, and put it right.
Why is there so much food bands? I just learned about the Cranberries, and I was like, "What's the Cranberries?" I don't know.
That's a Gen X classic.
Yeah.
My sister swore that I knew who the Cranberries were. She's like, "Yeah, they make that one song called," and I'm like, "I have no idea what the heck that is."
Zombie, right?
You're in for a treat.
Yeah. Great band.
I need that clip. I need that Obi-Wan clip where it's you've taken their first steps into a larger world. I need that on hand. I need to pull that out all the time on people.
It's a heartbreaking
Hannah,
story.
it's been an absolute pleasure. I know you don't have a lot of time, and I know you got to run soon. And I did want to at least say thank you for taking the time to talk to us. It's been a total pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Wow. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This flew by, and I'll let you know whenever Dark Circles is finally released, and you know, about the ongoings with Demonatrix. And yeah, it's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. I love your top before you go.
Thanks. It's from a movie called They Watch. Doug Henderson, Everything's Fire. Those guys. This my character wore this and they let me keep it.
Ooh.
Cool.
Yeah, that's not out yet either, so keep an eye out for that.
Dang it! I was about to search for it right now.
Sorry. I'm in another movie called They Are Watching. You can watch that one.
we
That one I can
made a
search
list.
for.
We made a list. Like, we're gonna watch movies.
All right, cool. All right. Well, bye, guys.
Bye, Hannah.
Thank you. Bye.
That was
nice.
fun, guys. That was fun.
She was a great guest.
Yeah, you called it. Absolutely. She pretty much interviewed herself. We were just here. Eye candy. We were just the eye candy.
We're the eye candy.
Yeah. I mean, they had to have somebody good looking to look at. It might as well be you, Freddy. It might as well. I know we were talking about some movie recommendations, and I know that you also don't have too much time to sit on right now, Freddy. So we can what we wanted to do is at least take a few minutes, since the holiday season is coming up. And for you guys who know me, the holiday season is Halloween. It is not Christmas. It is not New Year's. It's Halloween, All Hallows Eve. So we're going to come up with a few recommendations to get you guys ready for the season. I think Freddy's got a theme that he might be going with, given from what I'm gathering from our discussion. And I think I'll go in the opposite theme. Bianca's going to be all over the place with this, so I hope you guys are ready for that. Freddy, what's your first recommendation for people to start watching right around now to start getting prepped up for the holiday season?
My theme is I don't watch anything too new. So all these are older movies.
Good deal.
These are on streaming, but Nina Forever, if you haven't seen it, is a really great dark comedy about a man whose girlfriend dies, and when he gets in a new relationship, whenever he's having sex with his new partner, she comes bloody up out of the bed as this like entity that is there to kind of haunt both of them. And it's about relationships and loss and all that deep stuff. If you like kind of like a
Okay.
little bit more of the artsy type of horror, which I a lot of times for me that's
I
hit or
do.
miss, you know. Some I do, some don't always land with me, but
Depends on the era with that one, to be honest with you. The older 80s can hit or miss for me. You know, like a lot of the newer artsy ones, they're mostly hits as long as you're doing that right. Hey,
yeah, this one
Bianca, I wrote that down. So
2015 is when
okay,
Nina Freddy was
I
killed.
take your recommendations very seriously
Thank
when
you.
it comes to horror. Bianca, what you got for us? What's your
Ginger snaps.
Oh yeah.
that's
You can't
a
expect me not
Halloween
to
themed
have
movie.
a werewolf film ready. They're probably all just gonna be werewolf films. I didn't.
I mean, that suits. That's fine. I figured as much, but I am going to take one that you probably aren't going to think of right now. And I can't remember the year for the life of me. I was unprepared with this list. I just had the movie titles. Me and B just watched this movie called Where, which is a very unique take on werewolf lycanthropy. And they kind of
Yeah.
approached it from like a medical standpoint, like medical investigation, right? The best way to put it.
Did they suck all the
Yeah.
magic out of it?
And to be honest with you, it's a slow burn, which I do appreciate in a good movie. If as long as you're telling a good story, you care about the characters by the time you get to the end. A little kind of crazy with some of the plot, but to be honest with you, overall recommendation. If you like werewolf movies, you'll get kind of a different flavor from that. What you got next, Freddie?
This one is from 1988, so it's a much older, but this is probably new to a lot of American audiences. But it's called The 13th Floor. Um, Now, I'm not recommending this because it's any type of masterpiece or anything like that. I watch a lot of B movies, so this is firmly in the B movie category. But it's about this well. I'll tell you right from IMDb. Just this is easier. Just read this real quick. As a child, a girl witnesses her father electrocute a young boy. When she grows into an adult, the ghost of the murdered boy appears to her, and together they set out to expose the crimes of her father. And he's just like a corporate gangster kind of guy who owns this building. And she decides when she's an adult, the little girl who witnessed this horrible crime, and not only did he electrocute the little boy, the dad killed the little boy's father too, because the guy was like a leak or something. But that's like the setup as to why the building is haunted, and then the rest of the movie is her as a young adult running away and trying to kind of hide from everybody because she has stolen these things, these files from her father that are dangerous information. So she's living on the 13th floor of this office building he owns that's abandoned. This floor is abandoned. So there's people living above him, or not living, but working above and below where they're staying. So it's like real life threats to them because she has all this information, but then there's all this melodrama because her friend is in love with her, this girlfriend that has come along with her, and there's another dude with them who's got his own thing going on, and then there's a weird guy that works in the building that's a lot of fun. It's just a mess of a movie. It's Australian.
Okay,
It,
that answered my question. That
yeah,
answered my question.
it's a weird blend. It has almost like an X-Files vibe sometimes, and other times it feels like Reality Bites. It goes back and forth between those vibes. It's a mess, but I recommend it because it's a mess. The 13th
Okay,
Floor.
that's all right. I got The 13th Floor. I had a guess, but you answered the question before I was going to guess at it. Bianca, what you got next?
I have The Werewolves Within.
That was good.
The
That
movie,
was
right?
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the movie. It was what year did that? 2021. I feel like it just came out yesterday.
Yeah.
It's based on a VR headset video game of the same thing. There it is also a bit comedic. There's a lot of comedy bits, but it's mostly like a mystery, and it is a slow burn as well in a way. And I watched it officially 2 times, one in the movie theater and one with Jeremy, and I'm like, you gotta see it. I don't care if you don't like it, just see it with me, please.
It was good. It was good. I appreciated
Yeah.
the comedy. It was a unique kind of comedy, so I really
I almost
appreciated
relate to the protagonist. If you're going faster than me, that's above the speed limit.
Sam Richardson's great. I love that guy. He's so
I want
funny.
to see him in more stuff. I'm like, I love this guy. He's
if you
great.
love him, go back and watch the series Detroiters, where it's him and the guy who does I Think You Should Leave, I think is the name of the show on Netflix. It's about the two of them working for an ad agency, Detroiters in Detroit. It's hilarious. It's really
Wow, he
Detroiters
looks
in
so
Detroit.
young.
Yeah, this was like him, kind of how they started out, the two of them, and they've both had really great careers after that too.
Aw. That's
Let's
good.
see. I say my next one is going to be a very, very, very new one. You guys are going to have to watch Alien Romulus.
Oh, I can't wait.
You punk. Cheating.
It's not cheating. The movie is out.
It's out there.
And it will be available for you to watch from the comfort of your couch.
I don't want to watch
by
that.
Halloween. So blee blah bloobity blue. That's my recommendation. That is my second.
I love the Alien movies, even Alien 3, not the director's cut, but
it's not my favorite. And then 4
break your heart.
You know, I still watch them.
How many Alien movies were there?
Technically 7.
Yeah.
There's 8, but I don't count 4.
Oh,
so
and then you have the Meets versus Predator movies too. Yeah, you're all up in the air. There's so many Alien movies.
But Romulus, that's my recommendation. That is my second recommendation, and it is a new one because I did say I was going to go in the opposite direction because it seems like Freddy's pulling out some classics and some stuff that's not new. So for me, anything past 88 is definitely a classic at this point, as far as a film goes.
If it's survived, if it's still beloved,
if it's survived, you're absolutely correct. What you got next, Freddy? What you got next? We got a little bit of time.
This is a movie called Mutant from 1984 with Wings Hauser. I don't know if you remember him, but the main reason I'm recommending this again is not because it's great, but there is a riff tracks of this. If you like riff tracks, that is like top shelf. And the funny thing is, I've seen this movie now 3 times because of riff tracks. My wife Amy loves garbage cinema too, and she was about to watch this without riff tracks one day, just because the algorithm on Tubi or one of those recommended it to her. And I'm like, you've seen this twice already, and she didn't have any memory of seeing it at all. So it's kind of a dreamy movie. It's the kind of thing you'll watch Mutant, and then you'll come out of it, and you'll be like, "Did I really see that?" Because it's like a zombie movie kind of, but it's like 2 brothers in this little town where they're kind of like not from around here, so they're treated like like kind of like in An American Werewolf in London when they go into the pub and everybody stops.
You're John Rambo, if you will. You're not welcome here. You're not welcome.
It's a lot of that. And then the younger brother disappears, so Wing Hauser, the older brother, is trying to find him in this town, while meanwhile toxic waste is turning people into zombies. Kind of just behind
terribly
the scenes.
Familiar.
Yeah,
it sounds terribly Return of the Living Dead. That sounds great.
It's like a terrible Return of the Living Dead.
And let's be honest, that's saying a mouthful, isn't it?
I love Return of the Living Dead. One of my all-time favorite movies.
Same.
We might as well throw that on the recommend pile if you haven't seen that.
I'm gonna take 2 turns. Uno. You guys just got skipped.
I would be completely fine if he took more turns.
Why?
So it doesn't have to be mine.
It's your turn next year.
It's not fair. I don't remember the name. It was another werewolf film that we watched together. It was before we watched Where. That was your indie film that you recommended, and there was also when I had a indie werewolf film I recommended. It had to do with a former veteran who is at this shoot. What's it called? This
know what you're talking
community with older people or people around his age, and he's also blind.
So like a rest home type of situation, like retirement community.
Yeah, something like that. Late phases. There we go.
Oh,
I got
so that was good. I've heard of that, but I haven't seen it.
I believe Dead Guy didn't like it so much.
I'll say good might be pushing the envelope on that a little bit.
I can say the same thing about Where, okay? We both actually had the same thing about both movies.
Oh, this has Ethan Embry in it. Does that sound
Whoever
right?
that is. But yes.
Yeah, and Ethan Embry was Records. What's it called? Empire Records.
Empire. Oh shit!
And now he's done he's done some really great horror stuff. More recently, there was a movie he did called.
That's really cool. That automatic camera movement.
It freaks me out sometimes because I forget it has the camera on.
I gotta move mine. That wasn't automatic, guys.
We saw that.
Oh, hey, Bruce. My bad, guys. I have not been paying attention to the chat, and I've been having a lot of fun, and I apologize to everybody in the chat. I am so sorry.
Why didn't you tell me to stop sharing my screen?
Huh? It wasn't a big deal.
The Devil's Candy. That's the Ethan Embry who was in Late Phases. That's a really good horror movie he did.
The Devil's Candy.
Yeah, it's I saw it at Horror Hound Weekend. It was part of their film festival back in 2015.
So, wait a minute. So I'm confused now. Bianca, your last recommendation was Late Phases.
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to make sure where we are, and we don't get any repeats. Not that I was going to recommend that to anyone.
I guess
not that I would recommend Where to anyone. But we all know I would anyway because it's a werewolf film, and I
again,
a lot of them.
Even Freddy can probably agree with us here. We might have a few werewolf movies out there. Yes, the good ones.
To see Howl.
You know what I'm saying? The ones that are good ones, they stand out, and the other ones just sort of really fall flat. If you guys know what I'm saying, we don't.
Yeah.
Us werewolf fans don't have a lot of good ones to sift through. Like you watch the first few, and then you're just like, "Well, it's all downhill. Be real from here." You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna keep getting worse.
Movies. That's about it.
And
you guys see the one with Jason Momoa?
What's that one?
No.
There's a werewolf movie with Jason Momoa?
It's a TV show.
Yeah. And he's a werewolf.
I believe he hunts them.
Oh.
No way. I don't think there's any way that they'll have him actually be a werewolf. I think they'll just I believe it's called Werewolves.
There was a TV series back when we were kids called Werewolf back in the 80s.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was The Fugitive basically, but he was a werewolf.
I remember that.
Yeah. It was good. I thought,
wow, man, you just made me feel so old.
I think I was like 85, maybe somewhere was back in that era. Yeah,
back in the Manimal days. You remember that?
Yeah,
back
I remember
in the Manimal days.
Manimal. Great title.
I found a movie called Strippers versus Werewolves.
Do you think that's maybe good?
Is that a recommendation? Is that a recommendation?
I've never seen it, so I can't recommend it. But to be honest, it has me peaked. I mean, I did a review of an indie comic that was called Ninja Bimbos versus Zombies from Deep Space, which I actually have to realize I don't think I did the second chapter of that. I have to do that.
I'd remember that.
Sometimes it feels like they just pile things on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It feels like it all started with Pride and Prejudice and zombies, and then it just kind of went off the deep end from there.
Yeah, Lincoln. What was it? Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Slayer. I mean, it's just
surprisingly not bad movie for such a silly concept, but the movie itself was okay.
I think I actually seen some of it. He's walking around with an axe, isn't he? Like,
yeah, he has an axe.
Weapon.
It should be worse.
I heard of it, but I was like, I don't care about Abraham Lincoln being a vampire hunter.
Where you're like,
I don't
"Keep your
care about
politics
vampire
on me."
movies.
You know, hear me out. I used to be a vampire guy. Okay, I really liked Anne Rice's world. You know, those books
Yeah.
really got me into it. I liked the realism that was brought to it. Once you start getting into like Blade 3 type vampires where their face splits open,
Blade
that's
3
where
in
I'm like,
general. What a terrible movie.
I wouldn't go home with that. I'd go home with Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise, but I wouldn't go home with that. You know what I'm saying? So,
Brewster first said it. Jason Momoa was in Wolves. That's what it was called. Wolves.
Wolves.
It was the TV show.
All
Who
right.
recommended me that? I don't remember, but it's been in my watch
trailers
list.
about that, and also remember thinking another show with Jason Momoa in it. Yay!
I watched.
I forgot that was a book first.
First season and a half of C, where everyone was blind in the world except for his he had 2 children that were sighted. It's a series on Apple Plus. It's like a post-apocalyptic world where everybody's blind.
God damn it, you guys in the chat, you motherfuckers. We got Reese going, I'm still a vampire, guys. Better than damn zombies. But then Patrick comes in with, wah, wah, wah. Yeah. I guess they do suck, man.
What kind of dog is that? It's like a German Shepherd Pomeranian. It looks cute and fluffy.
I mean,
it was a movie from 2014.
I can get her to watch werewolf movies. I tried to get her to sit down and watch No One Gets Out Alive because I had happened to pick a Netflix original that I thought
what
was
in Portuguese?
Some of it is, but not all of it.
That was the one that we saw like 10 minutes.
Freddy, if you haven't seen that, that is
think so.
my next recommendation is No One Gets Out Alive. It feels like a Studio A24 film. But it's a Netflix original, and I was highly impressed with it. And I feel like it flew under the radar, and people are missing it. So I kind of recommend it to people. Like, please watch it.
I've read the book it was based on, Adam Neville.
Oh,
that I do. That was a good movie. The book, if you like the movie, the book's even a little better.
Okay, well, you've got me intrigued.
Does anybody ever get scared of reading horror books compared to movies? You just do that's jump scare from a book.
I grew up reading King. And I'm not going to lie to you. It's not a jump scare type of thing. It's when you stop reading, you're checking under your bed and opening your closet, sleeping with a light on type thing. Like, it's hard to jump scare you when you're reading.
That. He's a scary. He's got it. He's got a really great talent. The writer of No One Gets Out Alive.
Okay.
Silver Bullet is great.
I'm gonna check that out then. Oh, Silver Bullet. It's a classic. That's
Silver Bullet
from the king of horror.
He said it first. Highlight her message.
Hardy
Jeremy.
That's right above it. In the Silver Bullet, like King wrote that in such it could have been a Disney film.
It could have.
The emotions and the feels and the family unit, like that was what was the focus. The werewolf was just a backdrop, to be honest with you. The more focus was on the family and what they were going through.
A calendar, even before it was a book. Like he was commissioned it was a calendar called Cycle of the Werewolf. So it was a 12-month calendar.
Oh, yeah.
And every time you would start at January and the story started. And it would be Bernie Wrightson, the EC Comics artist, did the art. And it would be the first month, January would be the story of Marty telling the story of the beginning, of the killings. And then like, as you go through the seasons, that's why in the movie, like there's those stark divisions between the seasons.
Yep. That was the main focus. Like, if I remember correctly, the story itself, the short story with the focus was the seasons. So, because it was originally written for a calendar that makes too much sense now, Freddie.
Isn't that cool?
I need to have you on more.
Stephen King.
I need to have you on more, and we need to just talk movies.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because that's, I mean,
we could all get into that too.
We don't even need to pick a theme. It would happen on its own, or let the chat do it, and then we just sit there and start talking. But I did want to do a particular focus on A24 films. I've been following them for a while, so I've been wanting to just do a stream talking about highlighting their best films as far as in their horror.
Waiting for their werewolf film, if they ever make one.
There's one coming out with Brandy in it. Brandy is making a comeback, guys. And let me tell you,
Who's that?
Brandy is a singer actress from the 90s that me and Freddie grew up seeing her on TV, on television shows.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
She's a
girl.
megastar.
Dude,
actually.
she's making a comeback in film. I'm not
The
gonna
only
lie.
Brandy I know was the one who played Cinderella.
That's the same Brandy. Same Brandy.
I love her.
She doesn't look like she's aged a goddamn day in her life. In this trailer, I'm like, holy shit, she looks, and she looks great. So I'm actually really excited. The whole concept of the film looks. You guys haven't seen a trailer on it yet. I'm a member of their site, so I get to pay attention to all this shit. Just kind of like catch all their trailers and stuff.
Oh,
so
I forgot it's 5:00. I must leave. I must partake.
Oh, I think Freddie had somewhere you needed to be as well. So we can just go ahead and wrap up, guys. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna do some lunch. Have your people contact my people, and we'll do lunch.
Yes, that sounds great.
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. If you'd like to come back, Brandy the singer, absolutely, that's who we were talking about. Yes, the same Brandy. She's making a comeback in film. Anyway, Freddie, thank you for joining me for this wonderful interview and then discussion on films. I'd like to have you back somewhere around Halloween.
Oh yeah,
for the Halloween stream.
This is fun.
That might most likely be the 10K stream, and you were around when I only had like 300 subs. So that'd be cool to have you back, Bianca. Definitely, you always know.
So check out Night of the Living podcast then if there's.
Oh my god, man! Yeah. I forgot. If you got a second, let me pull up that link. Actually, I don't have my keyboard anywhere near me.
I got it.
I don't know why I didn't think about that. I feel so bad. My main focus.
You were very stressed, to be honest.
You had a lot on your mind. No worries.
My arm.
What was it?
So sweaty.
It's notlp.com. Just Night of the Living podcast. So we talk. This is what we do. We talk about horror movies, and a lot of times we have a theme where we'll do a different. Like this month, we were doing boarding schools, so all the films took place at boarding schools. That's the sort of thing. It's pretty fun.
Is NOTLP horror, sci-fi, fantasy, and film discussion?
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, cool. I thought I had the wrong one. I got scared.
No, you got me.
Man, you guys, we got to work it out. I got to get over there sometime. And
I would love to have you over.
You guys, at least for something that I can keep up with. You guys, everybody click that link on there. Check out the podcast. It is the single longest running horror podcast on the history of the planet Earth, which I think is fucking cool. And I go way back with these guys, man. Way back. We were kids.
Yeah.
Very entertaining, very funny stuff. You guys definitely check them out, show them some support. Freddie, we'll have you back sometime close to Halloween. I'll catch up with you before then.
Sounds good.
Bianca, have fun at your next stream. You've been a busy bee today. And I will see you guys later. Everybody in the chat, thank you for stopping by. I will catch you guys on the flip side.
All right, bye.